Some landlords think that hiring a property manager means giving up all control over your rental property business. The truth is, hiring a good partner in the property management duties may allow you to gain a lot more control over the results, the bottom line profits that you can earn from your portfolio, as well as get some time back because you're less involved in the day to day activities. If you're a busy professional managing your rental properties on your own, you may quickly find out and realize there's a lot more than finding a tenant and collecting the rent. There's a lot of coordination that's involved, from working with various contractors to keeping track of all the paperwork to keep you in compliance so that you can legally collect that rent. And it can be really exhausting. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about what a good partnership looks like with a full service professional property management company and how that really differs from when you ad hoc maybe hire a realtor just to do leasing, or maybe you have a relationship with a handyman that you call kind of crack the glass just when it's time to do a repair. Hopefully you will see by watching this video that you can stay informed, well informed of what's going on with your properties without doing everything, so that you can finally start building a system that allows you to scale your rental property business. So let's get started. I'm Veronica Woods. Welcome back to the Real Estate Wisdom channel. If you're new here, you may not know that I wear a few titles. I am a real estate investor, I am a real estate broker, and I'm also a property manager. And so all these titles kind of flavor the perspective that I give, especially in my operating area, which is Philadelphia and suburban Delaware County. So this is the fifth video in the series that I called Growing Your Philly Rental Property Portfolio Without Self-Managing. So if you missed any of the videos, we covered things like the mindset shifts that you need in order to get some time back, some smart moves that you can make to protect your cash flow, as well as some process mistakes that actually drain your profits. In the last video, it was a case study of how we've taken some clients through a rental income strategy session and pointed out things they could do to better mitigate the risk associated with being a rental property investor. So in this video, we kind of want to just put everything together so that you can really see what the potential benefits could be with hiring a professional property manager. So we're going to go over 3 points of value that you should consider, or hopefully that understand that you would gain if indeed it made sense for you to hire a professional property manager. The first point or pillar of value that I'll mention is adding a risk management expert to your team. So it's important to not just respond to issues that as they come up, but you want someone that can prevent issues and costly mistakes from happening. And a lot of this comes from building a system that takes into account all the different components of your back office for your rental property business, from compliance, tenant communication, licensing, repair history. So having developed systems from working with hundreds of other clients really helps in properties over time, really is a benefit to you as a individual rental property investor who may only have a few units. So having something like that, like your example of a client that came to us because they just were having trouble keeping track of all the lead safe certificates, a critical part of renewing the rental property each year. So we were able just to take that burden, having a system in place to be able to track those dates, so to not interfere with being a legal landlord in Philadelphia, for example. Now, it's important to note that the property manager is going to build their system. They're not necessarily going to create or match the system that you are currently doing for your own portfolio, but you are gaining a more complete system without any missing pieces, which is the second point of value from hiring a property management partner. So if you're relying on a la carte support in order to get through without having to pay as many fees, it's important to make sure you're budgeting your own time in the equation because you're the one who's filling the gap. So ultimately, you're either spending time or money to run your back office system. And depending on the type of tenant that's attracted to your property and the age as well, it can actually be a significant load. So you don't want to underestimate that cost as you're planning out how you're running your business and then your cash flow. Because let's say it takes longer for you, working nights and weekends to find the tenant or to resolve some issue with the local municipality. You don't want to surprise. You want to make sure that you're factoring in the true cost of running your back office. Now, tech can be a tremendous leveler in the process, especially today. However, it's important to keep in mind that the tenants of the day also are a little bit more needy, and they're used to kind of having an Amazon.com world. So they'll want to know when the contractor is 5 stops away to completing a maintenance visit. Now, when you have a good property management business partner, that doesn't mean that you do nothing, but you're able to focus on the strategic decisions and periodically inspect to make sure that the business is running like a well-oiled machine. But that's a far cry of being pulled into every piece of drama and trying to come to the rescue again, from 5 to 9 after work trying to get things done. So one client, for example, came to us after they realized that using their tenant as like a backup handyman that also keeps an eye on the vacant unit in the property wasn't necessarily the best idea. The third pillar or point of value that you can get from hiring a property management partner is if you truly want to turn your real estate into a 9 to 5 asset versus that 5 to 9 and weekend job. Many people, they get involved in real estate investing because they want their money to work for them. They're not necessarily clear if they want to work in the real estate business. Now, some people may want to be a real estate agent, or they like watching HGTV and get excited about different renovation projects. And, that's all well and good. But renovation is not necessarily the same as property management. And you have to really think about that trade off in your time. If your goal really is to just make more and more money year over year with your real estate while keeping the non-real estate profession that you enjoy. So if you do want to pivot to working, full time in real estate and potentially not even making money just off of your assets, but other people's assets, that's a whole nother video. Love to talk to you about that. But if you, again, really want to have it behave more like an asset that works for you and creates wealth, then you'll want to have enough time to focus on the more strategic decisions, such as, how should you, refinance your portfolio to maybe pay for an upcoming capital expenditure? What should your next property purchase should be? I have one client that, when he came on board, we spent time strategizing. Was it possible to get another $1,000 a month in cash flow across across his portfolio or across it was a duplex. And so you'll want to have a property management partner that can help you think through those strategic decisions without you having to worry about getting buried in all the weeds of the day-to-day property management decisions. When you start thinking like an investor versus a mom and pop landlord, you will think of hiring a professional property manager not just as an expense, but an investment in the infrastructure to help you scale your rental property business. The reality is that if you underestimate the cost of running your back office, it's extremely short-sighted, especially if you really plan to grow a bigger portfolio. And, quite frankly, one, you may not have the time to effectively do all the roles that it takes to be successful in managing your property. And two, you may not want to put yourself at risk of the legal mistakes and the vacancy costs of not having a full-blown system behind you. So what people, worry about, again, as I said earlier in the video, is losing control with hiring a professional property manager. But consider maybe being able to reclaim your time as well as achieve better financial results with having a professional property manager. Now, if I piqued your curiosity of what it would look like for you, I want to invite you to schedule a free rental income strategy session. In roughly 20 or 30 minutes, we can run through the various risks that's before you around tenant risk, property risk, compliance, and also the view of the financial picture. And I'll give you an honest assessment of where I may see some challenges as well as opportunities to earn more from your portfolio. Remember, you don't have to be a hands-on landlord forever and ever, even if you want to hold the properties, quote unquote, forever. It's no badge of courage to say that, especially when you plan to pass on those properties to the next generation who may not want to manage the properties like you do exactly. Why don't you set them up to have more success and an easier road in that transition, all the while giving you more income and freedom today? So if you're curious, why don't you go ahead and schedule that rental income strategy session? As always, thanks for watching. Happy investing.